Mentawai Islands, a group of islands off the west coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. I'm Rich Orman, Director of Programs for Mercy Corps Indonesia, and I've come to this relatively remote location for the week to have a look at what Mercy Corps is doing.
I'm spending the week on the southernmost islands in the Mentawais, Pagai Utara and Pagai Selatan. Obviously, the ocean is important to the people here, both as a source of livelihood through fishing and as a means of transportation. There are only about 80,000 people in total living throughout the Mentawai Islands, most of whom are Christian, although there is a significant Muslim population, especially in the larger centers. One such center is here in Sakaka. This is the largest town in this part of the islands and the location of Mercy Corps' office. The Mentawais are actually somewhat well known as a surfing destination, and bands of adventurous Westerners occasionally travel here to take on the ocean. The reason that Mercy Corps is here is also because of the ocean, but not for reasons that have anything to do with leisure. In October 2010, a massive earthquake struck off the south coast of Pagai Selatan. It triggered a tsunami that struck the southernmost islands. Over 500 people were killed by that wave. Hundreds more are still missing today. Just missing, taken by the ocean. In the wake of that disaster, communities simply abandoned their villages near the shore. I asked Supri, Mercy Corps' program manager in the Mentawais, what conditions were like for the survivors at that time.
No, there's no houses, no food, and difficult to find clean water here.
Mercy Corps was one of the first to respond. With help from the government and non-governmental organizations, residents moved inland into temporary accommodations, where they actually still live today. Mercy Corps was able to meet immediate needs through the distribution of critical supplies like these solar lanterns, the construction of sanitation facilities, and perhaps most importantly, the provision of water. These are rainwater catchment tanks. Mercy Corps provided the tanks and taught people how to install these systems on their new homes. There's no shortage of rain here, so these tanks make for a fairly dependable supply of water. The head of the local sub-village spoke to me about how the provision of these water tanks had improved their lives.
Now that we have tank, even more, so now during the rainy season, the community can take a bath with the water from the tank. They can also use the water from the tank to cook.
But Mercy Corps' assistance didn't end there. We wanted to make sure that these communities didn't just survive the tsunami, but were able to, well, build back their lives. So we provided boats to some communities and distributed seeds for corn, for consumption, and for cacao as a cash crop. This is one of the cacao nurseries where the seedlings are growing until they're big enough for planting. In order to get these seeds in the ground, Mercy Corps is providing agricultural tools. I attended one of these distributions here during my visit, and I was really pleased to see how well organized it all was and how much the local people really seemed to appreciate the aid. What made this unique is that we weren't just handing out a bunch of prepackaged tools, which would have been fine, but we had people choose from a sort of menu of tools so that on this day they received what they specifically had asked for, what was important to them. Providing this assistance doesn't come without its share of difficulties. Supri talked about some of the challenges.
The main challenges to work in Mentawai is weather, of a wave of the sea, and the transportation is difficult here.
In fact, many communities in the Mentawais are accessible only by sea, so goods for distribution often need to be brought by boat to the other islands. sometimes over rough seas. And once we get there, the going doesn't get any easier. The roads, if you want to call them roads, are a mess, and crossing the rivers sometimes requires a little bit of physical effort. Then there's the rain. Lots and lots of rain. But it sure makes you appreciate the sun a lot more when it does come out.
Well, I've concluded this week that despite the many challenges of working in the Mentawai Islands, Mercy Corps is succeeding in fulfilling its mission here, helping to create secure, productive, and just communities. In the Mentawai Islands in Indonesia, this is Rich Orman with Mercy Corps.
Amati,